Welcome to the Prophecy Club, and yes, the first part of this broadcast is going to sound similar to yesterday's broadcast because we have to assume that whoever's listening didn't get to listen to yesterday's broadcast. So I've got to do a brief little kind of catch-me-up series, but then I'm going to be bringing some information today. You are not going to want to miss this. And it's all from a Bible prophecy standpoint, but you know, as a prophecy student, when we know Bible prophecy, we know things the news does not know. We can see things from a perspective they don't see, you see. And that's where we're going today. This can be a very important broadcast, which, speaking of that, you might want to email this broadcast around to your friends. I cannot prove a word of what I'm about to say. None of it comes from me. The only reason I mention any of this is because I have two prophecies that seem to confirm it. Those two prophecies are from Pastor Massey. The U.S. military will come in to help Trump to take over control of the public. The public will go out of order. From Terry Bennett, what the United States is going to go through is civil conflict, civil war, then invasion. I saw the governmental area will go through dramatic changes in our government. There will be a time of anarchy and chaos. For a while, we'll have a fractional government, which means basically our government will come down to the state level because the military is stepping in and having to, listen to this, seize control of our federal government. While you'd call it a coup, in all honesty, it'll be to help our nation, which is why the military will have to step in. Lawlessness, chaos was shown to be in civil unrest. He also said the angel Gabriel told him that when the checks from our government stop coming to the people, the chaos will ensue. That might give us a little hint as to when this is going to come to pass, as Donald Trump is saying he's going to be working on entitlement or welfare reform next. They are specifically saying they may be about to start requiring people to go to work in order to get government checks. Now, what that's saying is Pastor Massey and Terry Bennett both say that there's about to be a government takeover. Now, again, a brief review. On Saturday, November the 18th, Hal Turner reported that there was a large contingent of Marines that did not just buzz the CIA headquarters, though that was his first report. The CIA headquarters were apparently invaded by tilt-rotor aircraft when the Marines deplaned, armed, and moved quickly into CIA headquarters. He says conspiracy theorists are claiming that the President of the United States is moving to take out rogue elements within the intelligence community at the request of his new CIA director. It's rumored that these rogue elements have been undermining the administration since he took office. Then, the next day, he comes out and said, yes, well, the military aircraft, according to what he was told, did approach and circle the CIA headquarters, but they only circled. They just buzzed it. They did not land, but did not enter. However, that's not what Benjamin Fulford says. Benjamin Fulford says they did, in fact, land. And he says that the Marine raid last week on CIA headquarters in Langley, Virginia, has yielded a huge haul of actionable intelligence, say Pentagon and other sources. Trump is winning big with Clinton-linked pedo, as in pedophilia, rings busted in China, as well as in the Philippines, Africa, and Germany. Military tribunals and sealed indictments across the USA are approaching 4,000, according to Pentagon sources. We got two people that said the CIA headquarters were actually invaded, and then one of them came back and said, no, they just buzzed it. All right, well, what's the truth? Well, on November the 20th, I found several different articles. This is one I'm pulling up. The headline reads, the U.S. begins bombing Taliban drug labs as Trump's Afghanistan strategy takes hold. Now, what they're saying is that when the Marines invaded the CIA headquarters and apparently raided all of their files, what they did was come out with a list of targets for them to take out. The article goes on to say, the U.S. and Afghanistan launched a series of strikes on November 19th. That's the very next day after the raid. The raid took place on the 18th. All of a sudden, they start hitting targets in Afghanistan. We're talking about drug places where they're growing poppy and all of these heroin and things like that. which is primarily the way that what I'm told anyway, way the CIA finances their black projects, specifically their underground bases and things like that, is from drugs. What I have been told, again, I can't prove this, is that the primary job of the CIA is monitoring and controlling drug sales around the globe. So you wonder why they can't get rid of the drugs? There you go. So anyway, let's go on, going back to the article. U.S. and Afghanistan launched a series of strikes November 19 targeting alleged narcotic laboratories, a key source of revenue for the Taliban. And, of course, what I'm going to say I've heard is that it also the CIA. The strikes began Sunday, November the 19th, the day after the CIA raid, represent the first significant use of new legal authorities granted by the Trump administration. It goes on to tell all of the things that they are doing. Here's the new information. Why would they be doing this? Well, yes, obviously to take out some of the financing for some black projects and some really bad people. But our objective is to find out if there's about to be a military coup. Now, I used to think that this was probably going to be like the bad guys, Obama, taking over the good guys and through some kind of martial law, basically taking over America. Well, back when Obama was in charge, that was a reasonable scenario. However, got another scenario for you. What if it's actually the good guys by Trump actually taking over the bad guys, seizing control of the federal government? You see, part of the prophecy was, in all honesty, it would be to help our nation. So actually taking over part of a government, he says, would happen and would be good for our nation. Well, let's look at what has happened since Trump has taken his presidency. There's been 125 White House leaked stories, almost one leak a day. Then, of course, as you recall, the spy community released Trump talking in a private conversation with the president of Mexico and the president of Australia. What? And this was really released publicly. Where did they get the idea that that would be a good thing? Then, of course, we have the Hillary email situation, the 33,000 evaporated emails. And let me just say, you can bang all of the cell phones you want to, tear up all of the hard drives, all of the computers you want to, but those emails, you put an email out. Matter of fact, if it flies through any kind of fiber, copper cable, or through the air, any place in America for sure, and sources have told me any place on the globe, it is recorded, meaning that Hillary can destroy all the hard drives she wants to. But those 33,000 evaporated emails, those destroyed emails, they're not destroyed. They do have them. Somebody someplace, and some spy computer someplace has them. They're not destroyed. And if they want to, they can bring them out. Of course, we have the whole Hillary email thing, the Uranium One, the Clinton Foundation. So there's potentially a lot of people that could be rounded up. Now, again, let's go back to what Benjamin Fulford claims. He says that there's some 4,000 sealed indictments. That was November 27th. But now the count is up to some 10,000. If we have time, we'll get to that. But I covered that yesterday, so I don't want to cover too much of what I covered yesterday. I want to bring you the new information. Now, here's the new information. As I already told you, I'm a big fan of Fox News and Sean Hannity. Well, last night he had on Mark Levine. Let me tell you part of what Mark Levine said. He said, it's not a question of whether James Comey leaked classified information. The question is how much information did he leak? Okay, that means that one of those sealed indictments might have James Comey's name on it. And he says that there's some 78 leaks concerning the Russian probe. Then, of course, we have the dossier, which put together by Fusion GPS, packed with apparent lies. Reportedly, Hillary Clinton, through her law firm, hired Christopher Steele, an ex-British spy, who used to work with the Russians to cook up a pack of lies to feed to news outlets and the FBI and FISA judges to get warrants to listen in on candidate Trump's campaign. Secrets, strategies, hoping to catch him in some kind of a situation to cause or to kill his candidacy, and then if he won, to bring in Article 25 impeachment proceedings against him. This was their dirty little trick. Mark Levin says that the Obama FBI and DOJ used the dossier to get FISA warrants to spy on Trump. He says we know that because when the FBI and DOJ, when there are questions about this, always say, well, we can't say. Well, if they didn't use it, they would simply say, we didn't use it. It's not classified information to say we didn't use it. But they don't say that. So inadvertently, they're saying, yeah, they did. All right, now let's back up and see where all of this is really coming from and possibly going. Could this be the decapitation of the leadership, the evil leadership in America? Could this be a massive draining of the swamp? That's the point we're trying to get to in today's program. Is the swamp about to be drained? Let's start with a little bit of history. The Watergate scandal. That's a long time ago. So I looked it up on WikiLeaks. I've got a couple of paragraphs for you to refresh your memory. The Watergate scandal was a major political scandal that occurred in the United States during the 70s, following a break-in by 5 men at the Democratic National Committee. So this is the Republicans spying on the Democrats. And they broke into the headquarters of the Watergate office complex in Washington, D.C. on June 17, 1972. President Richard Nixon's administration's subsequent attempt to cover up its involvement after the 5 burglars were caught and the conspiracy was discovered. Watergate was investigated by the United States Congress. Meanwhile, Nixon's administration resisted its probes, which led to a constitutional crisis. Those activities included dirty tricks like bugging the offices of political opponents and people of whom Nixon and his officials were suspicious. Nixon and his close aides were ordered investigations of activist groups and political figures. Listen to this, almost the same thing is happening today in Trumpgate, using the FBI, the CIA, and the IRS. Did Obama not use the IRS to go after certain groups, political groups? Yes, he did. As a matter of fact, those groups have now been paid a settlement. Let's go on, though. The scandal led to the discovery of multiple abuses of power by members of the Nixon administration. An impeachment process against the president led to blah, 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 and he was impeached. Actually, he resigned. Let me give you my disclaimer, then let's go into where we are today. The things that I'm discussing are basically guesses. On almost all of this broadcast, I can't prove any of what I'm about to say or said. I've received almost all of this from other news sources, and I can't verify them. They're reliable sources and generally and probably accurate, but I can't prove it. So legally, I have to say this whole broadcast is just for entertainment. All right, now let's get to it. Donald Trump announced his candidacy for the presidency of the United States. All the polls soon showed he was leading the other Republican candidates. Crowds began to show up at sports stadiums to hear Donald Trump talking about making America great again. The crowds began to grow. The elite working for world government began to get scared and formulated a plan. They doctored the polls, always making Hillary shine and Trump appearing to stumble. But they had the truth. They knew that Trump was winning, and almost from the beginning they knew it. The elite got scared. What if Trump were to win? They had their communist-controlled media tell the opposite was actually the fact. They told everyone that Trump was losing. Hillary was winning. Why? Possibly to depress the opposition, thinking, well, it's no use of going to vote for Trump or working for Trump. He can't beat Hillary anyway. Why waste our time? Why waste our money giving to a lost cause? They may have gone to Jeff Sessions saying, we want you to befriend Trump early and announce your support for him. We'll do everything we can to see that you're approved as the next Attorney General if you will send a few small changes our way. We will occasionally ask you to look the other way or make changes in the way you are prosecuting or not prosecuting. That may have happened. We'll know because if these 10,000 sealed indictments come out, maybe Jeff has been working, maybe Jeff has been doing a great job. But If nothing happens, then we have to scratch our head because so far we haven't seen a whole lot from Jeff Sessions. So we'll find out who he is as the days roll on. Trump continued to rise in the polls. The elite became more concerned. They decided it was time to use smear tactics, an effort to damage or call into question someone's reputation by propounding negative propaganda. That's the definition. It can be applied to individuals or groups. Common targets are public officials, politicians, political candidates, activists, ex-spouses, and in this case, Donald Trump and his campaign. I believe that the plan may have been to get someone to cook up stories and find damaging information about Trump, kind of like they just did the guy in Alabama. Remember Moore? They found some 19 some odd women willing to complain about Trump. A few were later, it was discovered that they were actually offered money for their testimony, but that wasn't stopping the Trump train from picking up speed. Something else had to be done to stop this man from destroying their plans to form a world government. The elite, and I'm not talking about this just Hillary. I'm talking above Hillary. I'm talking about the people that rule the world, okay? The elite took it to the next level. They apparently hired Christopher Steele, this ex-British spy with connections to the Russians, to cook up a colossal story to take down Trump during his campaign, but for sure, if he got elected, a method to remove him. According to news reports, apparently, Hillary paid this guy Steele through her attorney's firm. He cooked up a wonderful story, big enough. They released it to the communist supporting media and to the FBI. The FBI, according to Levine, used it to obtain FISA warrants to spy on Trump's campaign and presidency, looking for ropes to hang him with, to take him down. Then, one by one, step by step, the truth began to leak out, to begin to reveal what actually happened, to be what may be in history, may show is the biggest scandal in American political history. You see, the Watergate scandal was a Republican president trying to gain a political advantage over his Democratic competition. However, Trumpgate, as I have named it, is a Secretary of State now running for the presidency, paying for a dossier smear tactic, and tapping the phones of the rival presidential candidate, Donald Trump. Watergate was trying to gain a political advantage. Trumpgate is Hillary Clinton trying to steal a presidential election. Watergate involved the leadership of the president, White House staff, FBI, and DOJ. Probably, once the truth, if it does come out, probably we're going to discover that Trumpgate also involved Obama, Hillary, Comey, McCabe, and the DOJ, and possibly even more. One of these days, we get to see it all. Many elements are the same, but the objective of Trumpgate is to complete the corruption and the fall of America to form a world government. Whereas Nixon was simply cheating, trying to stay in office, Hillary's cheating was really heading to destroy America, to bring in a world government. The funny part is, the Democrats were colluding with the Russians to bring down Trump, but accused Trump of doing exactly what they were guilty of. Here's the problem. Jeremiah 51 verse 9 says, "We would have healed Babylon," that's America, "but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let every man return into his own country." I believe with all my heart that one thing is true. Right now is our last chance as a nation. If we are going to be saved as a nation, if we're going to turn around, if we're not going to have the Russians attack us and defeat us in one day, if we can stop it or slow it down or soften it, if that can happen, these are the days for that to happen. Question is, are some 44,000 Marines ready and about to round up some 10,000 high-ranking Americans? Will this temporarily decapitate the federal government? Will this cause the states, as the prophecies have said, to have to come down and take over leadership of our nation? Is this about to start the internal revolution that Dmitry Duduman warned us of? Are we 2 or 3 years away? 2 or 3 months away? 2 or 3 weeks away? Or maybe even 2 or 3 days away from the fall of America? You see, the elite did not count on millions of God-fearing Christians praying for God to send America a modern Samson or a modern Gideon to drain the swamp and kick out the scorpions and snakes. The prayers of millions of saints ascended up before God, and perhaps God responded. Perhaps God took a man he had prepared to be financially independent of strings or attachments, who could not be blackmailed into submission, nor bribed into submission, cleaned him up, gave him an opportunity to heal this nation. Now let's go back to the article. This raid was made possible because Trump signed an executive order on October 20th to recall retired military into active duty in order to take down the Bush-Clinton cabal. This comes from Benjamin Fulford. He says the Jewish mafia purged the CIA and the FBI of traitors, the sources say. The sources say that during the November 18th raid on CIA headquarters, computers and documents were seized, and as a result, some 400 drug facilities were located, and the U.S. military began bombing them in Afghanistan on November the 19th. And I confirmed that by news reports, independent news reports, and not just one. They added that the bombed locations were labeled as the Taliban's in order to be politically correct. In other words, they didn't want the world to think that there's some kind of civil war going on inside the military-industrial complex of America. But that may be exactly what is already in the process. Back to the article. The Marines have proven once again that they are always faithful. In addition to cutting off heroin money from Afghanistan, the cutting off of air flights and land connections to North Korea has stopped the flow of amphetamine money to the Khazarian cabal. Now, these are your international bankers. The ongoing legalization of marijuana worldwide has also cut into the source money of the Khazarians. With CIA drug money influence drying up, the International Criminal Court is poised to prosecute the CIA and the cabal for torture and other war crimes in Afghanistan as well as elsewhere, the Pentagon and other sources say. Also, one of the largest corruption cases in U.S. military history has led to the investigation of 440 people, including 60 admirals, a third of the top Navy brass, removal of corrupt officers, mostly stationed in Asia. Basically, this Benjamin Fulford says that the U.S. Marines raided the CIA in Langley, Virginia. On November the 18th, the Marines retrieved a lot of evidence implicating well-known politicians of embezzlement, election rigging, identity fraud, assassination plots, murders, domestic terrorism, and pedophilia. And apparently, according to what he says, some 10,000 sealed indictments are about to be served. Now let's go to that report. Again, according to Benjamin Fulford, 10,000 sealed indictments are ready to go to take down the Khazarian mob. U.S. President Donald Trump spent the weekend at Camp David with his top generals to map out the next strategy for decapitating the Khazarian mafia worldwide, say Pentagon sources. He says the entire FBI and Justice Department network that tried to protect Hillary Clinton from prosecution is also being systematically exposed and dismantled. Now, we've asked Donald Trump to drain the swamp, kick out the scorpions and snakes. Is that what's about to happen? Let's go back to the reason we would even understand this. The reason we would even believe something like this could be happening, and that's from two prophecies. Pastor Massey, the sentence is, the U.S. military will come in to help Trump to take control of the public. The public will go out of order. Then from Terry Bennett, the exact sentence is, I saw the governmental arena. We will go through a dramatic change in our government. There will be a time of anarchy and chaos. For a while, we will have a fractional government, which means basically our government will come down to the state level because of the military stepping in and having to seize control of our federal government. While you'd call it a coup, in all honesty, it will be to help our nation. That is why the military will step in. So is this about to happen? Trump is now saying he wants to work on welfare and entitlement reform, part of what Gabriel told Terry, according to Terry. When the checks from our government stop coming to the people, the chaos will ensue. That may very well start in 2018, brothers and sisters. We may be about to hear that these 44,000 U.S. Marines just rounded up 10,000 sealed indictments, and all of a sudden, the U.S. federal government is in chaos. People across the nation are looking at each other, wondering what in the world is going on. What are we going to do? Who's running the country? Well, we did ask him to drain the swamp, and maybe this is what pulling the plug looks like. You understand that most people don't see this. It's only us prophecy students. Because we know Bible prophecy says we're coming to world government. We know because the prophets say that these things are coming. 2 Chronicles 20:20 says, believe God's prophets, and so shall you prosper. Well, we believe his prophets. We believe his King James Bible. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your prayers. And remember us when it comes time for giving. God bless. Now from the Prophecy Club, some exciting opportunities for you. I memorized the book of Revelation, and in the process, God gave me 12 awesome revelations. Jesus is not the primary message of Revelation. What is? My biggest revelation, what is the morning star? Who are the two witnesses? The final answer to the rapture question. Definitive proof that America is in Revelation. And what is America's future? 7 signs to spot the Antichrist early. When does the New Jerusalem arrive? Are there 1 or 2 judgments? The surprising final plague on earth. It's a double DVD for a gift of $50 or more. Order at prophecyclub.com or 785-266-1112. Revelations on Revelation, gift of $50, prophecyclub.com or 785-266-1112. The next speaker at the Prophecy Club is Adam Johnson, president of the Harvest Bible Institute and Theological Seminary, has done over 150 conferences and debates defending the King James Version. He's going to be speaking January 26, 27, and 28. That's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the Prophecy Club. Friday, Saturday, doors open at 6, speaking from 7 to 10:30, gift of $10 at the door. No charge Sunday morning, doors open at 8:30, speaking from 9 to noon. It'll be 3 DVDs, gift of $45. Title is King James or 400 Counterfeits. Topics are why King James, inspiration preservation, biblical comparisons, arguments against King James, manuscript history, numbers, we found the truth, King James in our modern language. 3 DVDs, gift of $45. Prophecy Club Corner, Parking K, 2540 K Avenue in Plano. Doors at 6, speaking from 7 to 10:30. See you there! So, we get our taxes cut, and maybe Trump even fixes our health care. Well, you don't have to be a Bible prophecy expert to know we're still headed for troublous times, and gold and silver is still one of the best ways to preserve your assets for the coming trouble. The question is, what's best for my situation? Gold or silver? Bars or coins? Spot collectible or junk coins? Call my friends at Redwood Gold Group and ask for a free gold kit to get updated, because not all gold is equal. And ask for a free IRA kit, which will help you to make your decision to place gold in your IRA or not. And with a minimum order, you can get a free safe, which allows you to store your gold at home and still keep it in your IRA. Call 800-696-6414. 800-696-6414. It helps Prophecy Club. That's 800-696-6414, and mention Prophecy Club when you call. RedwoodGold.com. RedwoodGold.com.